Hey, everybody. I think people are trickling in here. Attendees are being let in. So we'll kick it off in the effort to be as timely as possible. Obviously, everybody's time is super valuable. So really appreciate you guys taking time to speak with us today and talk about Q3. We're super ecstatic about what we accomplished in Q3. We're even more excited about what we're going to be accomplishing in Q4. It was a fantastic quarter for us from a product perspective, from a team growth perspective, from a transactional perspective. And we'll share a lot of that with you guys today. Um, Here's your customer success team. There are a few new faces on the team. Sierra, who you also see in the webinar, joined us recently, comes from the MSP space, super experienced. Priya also joined us recently, more of a software background, but also very experienced in customer success. And then Steve Taylor from Rocket MSP joined us to lead content. And you'll continue to see, a lot of exciting content from us. We're developing office hours, which we'll get into later, and much more detail around accounting, finance, payments to really help educate ourselves, educate the space, be a great partner in the entire ecosystem. Today, we're just going to highlight really Q3 deployments, go into Q4 on the product roadmap, few highlights, and then get into some achievements and Q&A. I'll kick things off, with insights. We heard loud and clear from the market, from our MSP customers, that today there's a challenge and there's a lack of visibility around invoicing, around customer data, around payments. And the challenge really is that you guys utilize a lot of software, a lot of different components go into those invoices, and it's really, really difficult to track. We heard you loud and clear. And as a solution, we launched our kind of beta version of Insights. This is super attractive for a number of reasons. I'm going to just jump in here from a product perspective and walking through a couple of the components of the product. So you'll see Insights in beta within your partner dashboard today. There's an overview tab, there's an invoices tab, there's a payment and collections tab, and there's an automations tab. You'll soon see a customers tab as well. And so you'll be able to track all of these fundamental KPIs and metrics at the customer level. That will give you obviously specific granular information on each specific customer. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen this, but I'll cover a few items. You'll see payment volume. You'll see time to pay trending by months. Very easy to toggle it by view. So last 12 months, last 6 months, custom time periods. Again, really hone in on understanding the business's fundamentals. A lot of payments companies don't do this. We think this is super valuable to really understand what's automated and what's not automated. And how are we as a company performing in relation to how you're getting paid? So activation rate is what percentage of your revenue is flowing through alternative payments versus outside of alternative payments. Obviously, the goal here is for every customer to come on board alternative payments. Our customer success team does a fantastic job getting you onboarded, implementing the solution. You see that rocket right up in month 1 and then continue to trickle up to where your targeted goal is. As you guys all know, we work very closely with our partners to try to reach 100% activation. Sometimes it's a dream, but we're all seeking that number. As we click through I'll skip over invoices. We'll skip through payments and collections. Again, tracking the number of payments vis-a-vis ACH versus credit card. This is all through alternative payments, tracking activation once again, and then really digging into collection times and cash flow distribution. Collection times is super important because we're comparing how quickly you're getting paid within alternative payments relative to outside of alternative payments. So really important to track those numbers. As you should see, your payments through alternative payments should be significantly below what's external. And that's why we're having so much success as a business. You'll also see cash flow distribution. So over the last 30 days, when are you getting paid? When is cash coming in? If you're this business, as an example, $94,000 comes in on a specific day of the month. how does that affect how you run your business? So a lot of exciting things. And for the sake of time, I'm going to skip over the last tab, and I'm going to quickly share my screen and then pass the baton to Linda to walk through the next two product releases for Q3.
Thanks, Baxter. So next we have email domain customization. So one item we consistently receive feedback from our conversations with our partners was the desire to sort of take full control of your customer communication lifecycle. And that included the ability to send in these invoice notifications and payment receipts all under your branding. So based on that feedback, our team was able to provide the ability to customize your email domain as the solution to that. With this feature, you can send invoice reminders and payment confirmation emails directly from your own domain. Then that really gives you the full ownership of the communication lifecycle with your customers. Not only will the emails be fully branded to reflect your company, but your customers can reply directly to your domain, ensuring you remain, the central point of contact at all times. And sort of to tie into that, if we go into the next slide, Baxter, we have our custom email templates. So alongside with that, one of the recurring pieces of feedback that we also received and we heard from our partners was how much time was spent manually sending these emails. But many of you also wanted an easier way to continue managing the automation of your notifications with also the ability to personalize that messaging behind your notifications. Based on that feedback, out of that came our custom email templates feature. And that essentially gives you full control to create your custom email summaries and reminders that are completely tailored to your needs and continue to send them automatically based on your preferred cadence. So I'll just go over a quick demo on the email customization piece from my end. And I'll go ahead. Baxter, if you can stop sharing your screen. So I have a couple of reminders already set. So for any existing reminders that you may have, you have the functionality to customize those. So I'm just, for the sake of the demo, I'm just going to customize this 30 days after due one I have here. You'll have the option to you continue to use the default, but you can create your own custom one. Right. So you can label it a specific internal name for your template, assign it your own subject line. You can also leverage the variables that you have access to here, like invoice number. You also have the ability to add in then your own custom messaging. So you can get really tailored with the messaging that you want to relay to the specific customers. If you have certain terms based on your MSA or agreements for any late payments that are, 30 plus days overdue, you can add sort of customization and custom copy to reflect any late fees within these email templates as well, and easily save the template and then leverage that specific reminder for those specific notifications. So ultimately, it just really ensures, your consistent branded communication with your partners, continuing to save you time by automating those reminders, all while using your brand voice through these custom email templates and just sending them, of course, through your email domain. With that said, I'll pass it on over to Baxter just to review what we have upcoming as well for Q4.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Linda. The other thing I'll mention too, which will be a really cool feature that we'll be releasing here shortly on top of email templates, is the ability to create groups. So you'll be able to group customers into late payers, early payers, delinquent payers, and create separate cadences by group. So, as a lot of our customers know, there's always a release that's kind of iteration number one. And we're not stopping there. We're continuing to iterate and create the best experience that we can create. Coming soon. So what are we focused on in Q4? I'll touch on the highlights. As you guys all know, hopefully at this time, there's a lot that we're working on. Our engineering team's now 14 people. So we hired 2 new headcount in Q3. And we're continuing to lead the charge from a product perspective. So what's the issue here? The issue in terms of new end client checkout experience is that we still hear from our partners that people do not want to check out online. People would rather pay via check. And what we are doing based on working with a bunch of MSPs is we're making the experience even more simple and even more complete from an end client checkout experience. That encompasses a much more streamlined experience. There's less areas to click. It's very laser focused on the payment experience. You can see line items from the specific invoice within that experience, so it feels like you're really checking out. You can pay partially, you can pay in bulk. You have a lot of different options in terms of that payment experience. We'll see that new experience be deployed later this month, which we're really excited about. If you guys use other payment processors like Stripe in terms of honing in on that experience, that's kind of what it will look like. We were then creating additional optionality for you to refund transactions manually on your dashboard. And we'll also be handling chargebacks and disputes as part of the batch payments. Batch payments will be released for everybody in 2 weeks. There's already about 75 customers on it today. But again, that will allow you to consolidate all of your payments into one payment once a day, which composes disputes, chargebacks, invoice payments, refunds, and you'll have clear line of sight, all integrated directly with your accounting software or PSA software in that deployment. That's going to come a little bit later. So we're targeting November of this Q4. The last thing I'll mention is Notification Center. So, one of the things that we continue to hear from partners is, we're sending out so many emails. Fun fact, in September of this year, we sent out 165,000 emails on behalf of all of our partners. So there's a lot of emails being sent out. There's a lot of actions being taken. It's a business critical software solution for you all, and it's at the center of your universe. And so how can we redisplay all those actions to you in a very, very simple, streamlined fashion? That will be encompassed within a notification center. You can see, did Linda change the credit card that's on file? Did she change the bank account? Did she add a new integration? Are specific emails being sent out, received? So much more robust functionality around the notification center, which again, we're super excited about because it'll really provide that kind of real-time expertise of everything that's happening within our system. Lastly, I'll hit on a few Q3 achievements and then we can jump into Q&A. I see Sierra working hard with these questions, so I'm sure there's a lot to digest, and want to make sure that you guys are having time to ask the right questions and the questions that you want answered. But Q3 was a record quarter for us. Customer satisfaction grew 13% quarter over quarter. We grew our processing volume 35% quarter over quarter. So that's 150% kind of year over year annualized growth. Our headcount's grown 25%. That comes from sales, customer success, engineering, and Steve on the marketing side. You'll continue to see us invest in engineering, customer success, and sales, as we continue to expand our employee count and expand our coverage within this market. Time to pay declined by 17%, which is obviously fantastic. That's kind of one of our key KPIs that we track on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis to ensure that these product tweaks and adjustments are being felt from the MSPs, right? And you guys are, the co-creators of this software with us. Strategic initiatives, we'll be launching office hours bi-weekly to talk about accounting and finance within the MSP market. This is totally optional, but if you have any accounting question, we're going to partner with a few great accounting firms that are focused on the MSP space. Invite you guys to join. There's more to come there. We'll be kind of a 30-minute kind of Q&A. What do you want to talk about? Revenue recognition, margins, cash flow, accrual-based versus cash-based accounting, whatever you want. Then we're launching a Q4 referral promo, which I think you guys have all seen, but just to hit it on the head here. We're going to incentivize our partners a bit more this quarter to drive additional referrals. And in turn, you'll be able to receive a higher cash reward, as well as different conference free conference trips. So that's awesome. And then from a testimonial perspective, again, a lot of great feedback around getting clients up to speed fast, quickly, efficiently. Everybody's a little bit nervous as they're implementing this software. But really, really great customer feedback and really, really excited to continue to push this company forward, for all of your benefits. So now I'll turn it over to Q&A. Sierra, I don't know if you want to lead the charge here or shall I just look in the Q&A?
I can read it out for you if you'd like.
Yeah, great.
All right, cool. So, is the insights on the PowerPoint supposed to look like that eventually?
So the insights does look like this in the experience. I think if you go to insights on your dashboard and click, it's an insights parens beta. Collection times is on the bottom of tab payments and collections. And you can scroll down and see collection times as well as cash flow distribution. That should be deployed. And right now it's free while it's in the beta edition as we continue to take customer feedback.
Awesome. When will you have the option to let customers know they are on auto pay when they get sent an invoice?
So customers can all see that they're on auto pay within the end client dashboard. If you want the auto pay to be intertwined in an email notification, like, hey, you're on auto pay, we can certainly add that to the roadmap around using a variable, right? Which would be pretty cool. If Linda's on auto pay, grab the variable for that customer saying you're on auto pay. But we can certainly add that as a item to look into. The other solution, which we'll have shortly, is groups. So you could create a group of customers that are on auto pay, and then tied to that group, you could create a custom email to that group saying, you're on auto pay or you're not on auto pay, and send them reminders and customize the language based on that. So that should be pretty efficient, but we'll let us follow up with you specifically and see what we can do to make sure that we're addressing this point.
Hey, is there a limit to how many custom email templates we can create?
There's not. There's no limit. You can create as many custom email templates, and then that will be also passed through to the groups functionality. So you could then also create unlimited groups. So you could basically have a group per customer per an email template. If you want to send different emails to each independent group.
Hey, and will variable names be coming to the subject name in the template?
Yeah, so we're adding just more variable names generally. There's a bunch of other variables that we want to pull in, like autopay, and then we'll also just add that to the subject line. That should not be a big issue because obviously we already have it accessible. So we can, we'll get that done and can push that here shortly. Let me just follow up with our engineering team.
Okay. And is there a time-based late fee? Can we automate that in the payment portal so that it adds it automatically?
Yeah. So the late fees have always been interesting subject because some people add late fees directly in PSA or within their accounting software. And we've kind of thought that we are not necessarily in control of late fees. It's certainly something that we will build down the road. It's just not something that's taken a priority today. I understand, obviously, if the customer hasn't paid, because what happens is, let's say you set a late fee for 5% or 1% after 30 days, the customer goes to pay, it adds a 1%, and then the customer emails you and says, hey, can you actually take off that late fee or refund that late fee? It kind of creates a little bit of friction in terms of the payment experience. Which is why we haven't added it, and which is why we kind of pushed it to the PSA or the accounting software. But let us circle up with you offline and see if there's other things that we can work through.
Okay. Will customers be dynamically associated to the groups, or will we have to manually add them to the groups?
Yeah. So there'll be a default group basically. So think about it as a global group that all net new customers would get added to. And then you could set up separate groups based on your customer base. So the easiest thing to think about, right, is if you win a new customer, you add them into, depending on what your setup is, accounting or PSA, when that customer syncs in, they automatically get added to a global group. That's to ensure that they're obviously receiving email notifications and are set up. If you then want to change the group, then you would have to separate them out of that group and add them to a separate group subject to their, paying behavior. Again, the idea from a group's perspective is to ensure that, which group has auto pay on, which group is paying via credit card or ACH or doesn't have a payment saved. And it gives you a lot of that functionality and flexibility. Ultimately, it's our belief and our perspective and what we really try to push with our client base is when you win a customer, there's obviously a contracting process, there's an onboarding process. And as part of that onboarding process, it's really important for them to get access to the end client portal, which they can get access to seamlessly, but then also add their their default payment method on file, whether that's ACH or credit card or both, and then also opt into auto pay. That then sets you up for success for all downstream billing, invoicing, processing.
Perfect. When can we make line items on the invoices?
I'm not sure what you mean by make line items on the invoices. If it's like see line items on the invoices, it's in the next 30 or so days. We'll be deploying the ability for the end client to see all the details of a specific invoice without having to download the invoice directly from the PSA or accounting. So, if your end client wants to see it today, they just download the PDF. No issues. If they want to see it within the actual UI UX experience, that will be available here shortly.
I think this was attached to the previous question, but are customers able to be added to multiple groups or just one?
Yeah. Let me follow up with you on that. I don't know the specific answer, and I don't want to misspeak.
Okay. Is there an easy way to see what the customer experience looks like from our customer's perspective?
Yeah, so this is basically like impersonating an end client. We've spent a lot of time on it and talked about it internally. It's a small percentage of our customers really, really want it. And, we can obviously show you what it looks like. So this is something that has certainly been on our roadmap for a while, but not something that we prioritized. I think at this rate, it's probably like a Q1 initiative to be able to really see it. And the reason why that is because everything in your portal is duplicative in the end customer portal. So if you look and search Sierra, who's a customer of Baxter's, and it shows you 3 invoices, 2 of which are deposited and are paid, that's exactly what the end customer will be seeing. And you can also track, what's on auto pay, what's on bank account by going to, the customer tab and looking into each specific customer. So, if I go to in my demo account, which I don't have any payments for this customer. So let me see quickly here. Here we go. So, within my my experience here, we have an end company. If we want to see what's outstanding, we could just go to invoices. And this is exactly what they're going to see in a one-to-one perspective. So that's the best way to check it. You can also go to email activity and see what emails have been sent out to those customers directly, and whether they've been delivered. But, you will always see one for one what the end client, or what the end client should see one for one what you're seeing here, which is why there's less of a value to impersonate the end client today. But it's definitely something that people do ask for and want to see. The other places to look is customization. So, the branding of the experience, this is obviously what the end client will see. We have a help page, which has different information on, and then payment methods, whether they're passing the fees or not. Again, all one-to-one.
All right. And then for sake's time, we'll do one last question. Can refunds and credits be batched individually, separate from the deposits?
Not today. It's really, there's going to be one payout, and refunds and credits will all be encompassed within that payout. You'll be able to see within the dashboard as well as the payment receipt around what are those refunds, what are those credits. And so it'll be very, very clear, but they will be batched into one transaction. It makes it a lot easier from a transaction ledger perspective, because obviously we need to be tracking all the invoice payments that are coming in for each customer, as well as all the payments that are going out for each customer. And every single day, right, that needs to be net zero, right? So every incoming payment, there needs to be a payout. And so from a ledger analysis perspective, it's critical that that's all encompassed into one specific transaction. Well, everybody, listen, this has been fantastic. There are a few other questions that we weren't able to get to, but thank you so much for all your support. Again, this feedback is super duper valuable. We're excited that you're a critical component of this journey of this company. We wouldn't be here without you guys. And we're really, really excited for Q4, for 2025. We'll be doing this quarterly. We'll be moving into office hours to highlight accounting and finance subjects. If you need anything from me, if you need anything from Linda, anybody on the team, don't hesitate to reach out. Again, have a great day. Thanks so much for your time.